Hey, YouTubers. How's everybody doing tonight? I've made a habit lately of changing my tact in my videos, and I'm far less focused on New Jersey's political woes or um, financial issues or anything that plagues our society. And I've just kind of created a chat about life and the things that are going on around us, things that everybody more or less cares about. Um, Today is Valentine's Day. I celebrated my Valentine's Day Friday night. For better or for worse, it's the hand of cards that I've been dealt. Um, I know I'm a mess. My hair is a mess, but I want to get your thoughts on something that I think is reaching a boiling point in this country, an issue. And the best way to phrase it goes like this: how much longer do you think that people are going to adhere, society's going to adhere to the COVID restrictions without simply saying that we've had enough? Um, those that we elected haven't or aren't serving us the way that they should, and we don't want to wear these stupid masks. How much longer do you think it's going to be in this country until we see a tremendous pushback against this? Like, and I know you're going to have people out there that are going to say, okay, well, if there was going to be a pushback, it would have happened already, blah, blah, blah. But that's not necessarily the case, folks. Um, there are a lot of instances where people thought that this would have been over by now. People thought that right now, um, the COVID debacle would have come to a nationwide closure, or it would have at least alleviated to the extent that the mask mandate um, was relaxed and restricted to places where food is being served or places where live beverages are being served. But instead, we see this cyclical pattern of rules. And I'll give you an example of what I mean. A few months ago, Governor Murphy had a rule that you could drink and eat at a bar, but there was still no indoor dining, you see? And now things are just the other way around. We have indoor dining, which in most places, if not all, I'm not looking to out anybody, exceeds 25%, but you're not allowed to drink at a bar. So the rules have done a 180 entirely. What is going to happen when people as a whole say that their livelihood can't sustain with COVID, or they're simply not going to take it? People are sick and tired of this remotely televised Super Bowl and the little things that we used to take for granted. Yes, we had our first Christmas with COVID, and the economy really didn't take as big of a dump as I would have expected. It would have it would have at one time. A lot of my followers are tuning in, so I'm going to read down the script line. Alaska lady, how goes it? Whereabouts are you in Alaska that you're able to live without wearing a mask? I feel like I go through at least 3 to 5 disposable masks every other day. I try to minimize my wear of them, but I go to the gym every day. I'm packing on weight, but a lot of it is muscle. At least I like to think so. I wake up early, I jog, I do what I have to do. I've been quarantining for a couple days, but um, hopefully not a whole lot longer. Hopefully, I'll be able to exit quarantine. Beach walker, how goes it, sir? And that's the other issue too. Right now, I have underlying health conditions too. Now, I should not be wearing a mask. Okay? Nobody should be wearing a mask 24/7, 365. Because the issue is the mask isn't there to protect you from getting sick. It's there to protect everybody else from getting sick from you. Stay with me. So that being the case, all right, and you're protecting people from getting sick from you by you wearing um a COVID mask, a surgical mask. All right. Well, now you in essence, you're breathing in and essentially through your mouth and your nose inadvertently all the germs that you collect throughout the day. How gross is that? How disgusting is that? About 2, maybe 3.5 months ago, I had a guy at a rental car place talk to me and tell me that basically, or he didn't say basically, he made the point that the masks are capturing your methane. Your body exhales methane. So all that methane isn't being properly released from your body. It's being just stored there. These are the things, these are the little uh how do you say it? Caveats that people don't want to necessarily think about with the masks. People rather much just gloss over them. And that's a problem. That is a definite problem. And it's one that nobody really wants to talk about for now. I'm going to make a prediction, folks. Right now, the U.S. Senate is tied. The Democrats have the presidency. The House is the House is still in Democratic control, I believe, right? I don't know for a fact. But with that being said, I'm going to make the prediction that sooner or later, the government's not going to be able to keep up this gravy train across the board. All these people that are talking about universal income being a thing to stay, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And the revolt's going to come in terms of people taking out their angst in the voter polls and unelecting and voting politicians out of office that haven't provided a solution. I mean, obviously, I thought Dr. Fauci, this character is back into the picture, and he has a much more not even sympathetic. He has a much more receptive ear with the Biden administration, and it's one that I fear that his extremist approach is going to become public policy. And yes, I understand his position. He's a general who never wants to lose a troop on the battlefield. He's a coach that never wants to lose a game. He is demanding absolute perfectionism. He doesn't want to relax any of the um any of the restrictions until we're at a zero count nationwide. And guess what? That ain't gonna happen. That's not going to happen. The idea that there's going to be zero new cases, that's foolhardy and imaginative thinking. The idea that right now we'd have a 10 to 15% decline statewide, which is what we have in New Jersey right now in infection rates, that shows you we're going in the right direction. But how much more do we have to go before we start to resume life as we know it again? How further down the rabbit hole need we travel? I have very mixed views on this whole scenario. But what I do think is at the end of the day, the point is coming. The temperature is rising to a point where people aren't going to want to wear these masks another year and a half down the road. Uh-uh. People aren't going to want to stay at home another year down the road. You know, people aren't going to want to enjoy or try to live a second summer where they're going to Disney World or Six Flags to be 6 feet apart. 6 feet apart is one thing, folks. When you're in line at the Stop and Shop or the Trader Joe's and you have 6, 7 people in line. 6 feet apart is something different when you have 350 people lined up to ride the, I don't know, the Log Flume Mountain at Magic Kingdom. And these are the things that people aren't talking about for the here and now. People are still talking about the Trump acquittal. People are still talking about GameStop in the stock market. Nobody is thinking about how much longer this COVID sham is going to last. Is COVID real? It is. Am I quarantining from it or am I trying to? I am. But you can't live your life like this. We as a society can't live our life beleaguered by a virus that has uh, a slightly more lethal rate of mortality than the flu virus. You know, I'm reading my comments from my supporter. Oh, that's something else to be to that I wanted to touch upon right now. I don't have a science background right now. Not as strong as I would like. But I know enough about microbiology and the transmissions of viruses to know this much, folks. All right. As soon as they're reporting that people that had previously had COVID were getting it for a second time, the red blinking light in my brain went on because what that signals is you can't get the same virus twice. You're getting a different strain of it. And as soon as they said that we're getting a second strain of COVID, I said, "Oh my God." And Fauci really never talked about that. The media never, nobody at the National Institute of Health, the NIH or the CDC, ever planned for that possibility early on. We really heard that as an afterthought, all these different strains and mutations of the virus that were coming about. So now here we are, our response, what, 13, 14, not quite 13, I'm sorry. I stand corrected. 11 months of isolation, 11 months of being a mass society. Um, and here we stand with all of these little guess and check drugs that they put out that are being randomly and haphazardly distributed about and scattered across the land. You have Pfizer's, you have Eli Lilly, does Merck, Johnson& Johnson has one. So that's 3 right there that you have out of these vaccines. I think there's another 3 or 4 pending. But here's the kicker. All right. Yes, the derivatives of these vaccines have been around for a hell of a long time. All right. But their current chemical makeup is still something new. We don't know the side effects to it. It's the first thing. But more importantly, we don't know which vaccine is more appropriate for what strain, folks. You can be getting vaccinated for one COVID strain, and how many different strains have been confirmed? I think 8 or 9. The likelihood that this vaccine is going to be foolproof or effective, substantially effective against the majority, if not all, of the COVID strains is few and far between. It's stupid. It's stupid thinking. Okay. And for those of you that don't want to hear it, I don't know what to tell you. Okay. That's the reality of the situation right now. As far as the vaccine goes, if there's would I get it? If there's an incentive for me to get it, meaning I'm not gonna have to wear that stupid damn mask, I'd get it. Or if there's an incentive to get it, meaning you're gonna allow me to go see a public sporting exhibition, an NBA game, which I'd love to go see right now, or an NHL game, I get it. But am I gonna get the mask just to have this feel good sense of civic responsibility? Hell no. I'm not doing it. I wouldn't do it for you. I wouldn't do it for anybody. Um Eventually, it's gonna become compulsory, eventually. But they're not going to be able to legislate. You see, they're gonna have to incentivize and disincentivize not having a mask or not having the vaccine. I think it'll be a cold day in New Jersey when either the state or the federal government tries to say that every citizen must get, vaccinated. I I don't see that happening. I just don't. Now, is it gonna be a cold day when they say every citizen has to be vaccinated before you go to a public school? Is it gonna be a cold day before they say you have to be vaccinated before you walk into a library? They're gonna make it next to impossible or damn near impossible to live your lives without getting the vaccination. Fauci says you get the vaccine, you still wear the mask. I think sooner or later, Republicans are gonna get control of one house of Congress, and they're gonna restructure the law and the organization of National Institute of Health, and I think Dr. Fauci is gonna be booted right on his way out. Now, you have to understand something, folks, okay? There's a concept in this country that's known as Centers for Disease Control, the National Institute of Health, and the Food and Drug Administration, and it's a legal term and it's a political term. And what that term is called is regulatory capture. What regulatory capture is it's when the people that comprise the industry are self-policing, okay? They're making up their rules and regulations by getting their own appointed to government offices which regulate the pharmaceuticals, which regulates the healthcare professions. For example, Dr. Fauci, before he became a somebody in the Reagan administration, pretty much, pretty much, um, was Merck's go-to guy, was Merck's bag man. I mean, he had such strong connections with Merck and assisting them in virology studies, assisting them in, um, various drug approvals and clinical trials. So to say that he doesn't have any skin in the game or personal interest affected by that, I don't know. I think that's a little irresponsible. I don't think that this administration should give carte blanche to the opinions and the professional thoughts of Dr. Fauci without second guessing them, fact checking them, and balancing them against the greater good of the nation. I don't know what the right thing to do is. Do we let the virus go its course and just go back to our regular lives and whoever gets it, you get a little salute, whoever survives, hey, you're with us? I don't know. But I don't think another year and a half of this is going to bode well with our economy. I don't. And unlike contrary to popular opinion with these welfare queens and these, food stamp divas out there, we can't just keep printing money, folks. That's not how our system works. And every system that does work that way, from Greece to, um, France, even the UK to a much, much, much lesser degree, okay, their healthcare system. Those systems fail. We give help to those who economically absolutely need it or are in bad shape, but we can't keep printing money because people are too afraid to go to work. That's just not how America works. Well, folks, I'm gonna get going. I may be on tomorrow, maybe not. The library, um, the Library of Congress is a good place to start reading about a lot of what's going on. A lot of the articles that have been published regarding corona.